Welcome to our Top 20 Video Game Music Show, starring you. If you join our Discord and submit picks and show up in the chat like these fine people have. This week is all about music to study or concentrate to. Now, I would think that would mean stuff that would engage the brain but not be too distracting, would be pleasantly stimulating but not tedious, not boring. It can't put you to sleep, but it can't get you too agitated. You need to maintain a perfect balance of the alpha neural waves, binaural waves. Every once in a while I look up music or sounds to concentrate to. And you always see some binaural thing with like all those like hippie lava lamp-esque weird backgrounds. There you go. But the sounds aren't good, so I'd rather just listen to some music that does that, and something like this would work just fine. Yeah, but that one didn't make the cut. The way this show works is that people on our Discord submit picks 1 through 5, 1 being the one they want on the show the most, 5 being the least. And I go through and I put everybody's first pick, and then I put everybody's second pick, and then everybody's third pick, and everybody's fourth pick. The ones we start the show off with are the overflow that didn't make the cut. This is from Fez. It is Flow. Hello, Claudio. Let's get to our first pick, shall we? First pick is by me, luckily. It is from SimCity, the 2013 version. A game not well loved because of EA's weird practices of trying to make a city builder game always online. But the soundtrack was incredible. 10 years on now. This is Building the Foundation from SimCity. My first pick. Now, I really haven't studied for a very, very, very long time, and I can't even remember what I would have listened to when I was studying. Probably classical music or something, or video game music, actually, probably. But so I did use this song when I would do writing, typing and writing, because it had to be music that didn't have any words in it. And this is one that I stumbled across that just always made me quite productive. I'd find actually the danger of the SimCity soundtrack is that when I was writing, the music was so inspirational. It made me think all of my ideas were genius. They were as genius as this music is, and it really is. you know, I find that the sounds to this are surprisingly organic. You know, a lot of wind instruments and you know, strings, just like classic orchestral instruments. Even though you're building something, which you're building things that are particularly not human and not organic. I guess some of them are made from organic materials like wood and stuff. So maybe that's the thing. I mean, we build instruments as machines. We're building these roads and these buildings. I like the kind of like pizzicato plucked strings you hear earlier on. Not now. Let's go back. So those things are acting as a percussion, which is nice, just to give it a bit of a oomph while you're setting up this huge track, and you're setting up like the rest of the soundtrack as well. And to me, it sounds like, not like the sounds of something being assembled that is large like a house. You know, it's not like hammers and nails. It's not power tools. It's not a skyscraper going up. It almost sounds like the sound of a watch. And to me, a watch is probably the smallest mechanical thing we can build. I mean, of course, we can build transistors and we can build, you know, microchips. And I'm sure other really small things that are microscopic in size. But I'm talking about what humans would put together with a little wrench and a screw, you know, like the watchmaker puts on that extendo vision, gets in real deep. And it sounds like that to me. And I think that if you're setting the foundation of a game and a soundtrack, we're going to be building eventually the biggest city ever known to humankind. It's fun to start off with something this small. I like how Chris put it, first steps, you know? And the main theme does get very emotional. It's so wistful. What is it searching for? That's a really good point, Chris. There's nothing too unexpected, but it does have a progression to it. I think you're bang on there. It strikes a nice balance of that. Next up, from Opus Magnum, this is Opulence, composed by Matthew S. Burns, and it was chosen by Chris. Nice pick, Chris. You know, at first you hear it and you go, pretty boring. What's going to happen to this track? Made you think of Deus Ex for a moment? Yeah, definitely. It kind of starts off with that. Here, when you have that percussion, which I'm going to say is like delayed or reverbed brushes on a snare, maybe. Really makes it sound like Splinter Cell, Metal Gear Solid, sneaking around. Now, when you first hear this opening bit, when the bass comes in later, and the second note the bass goes to is so good, and I don't expect it because just from hearing this melody and it setting itself up, I totally didn't expect that. Let's go back to it. Let's go forward to the bass. There we go. All right, I expected that note. I did not expect that. So that note that it's going to there is the heroic fourth, and probably the major. Yeah, I would assume so. I don't know about that. Anyway, it's just a big, nice going from the root up to the fourth. Sounds awesome. Very heroic. So, I really didn't expect this trip hop beat. And why do I call it trip hop and not hip hop? It's very simple. I feel uncomfortable calling anything hip hop. Trip hop feels more in my lane. I think I just look like trip hop compared to hip hop. I love that bass sound, and that second bass sound is just so good. Beautiful. Again, just it slowly builds, not too unexpected, but keeps adding things. A lot of little pieces kind of going on. Nothing really demanding a lot of attention, but just enough to kind of tickle your brain while you're focusing on something greater. Not really a lot of big melodies, more like repeating figures instead. So if you're going to choreograph it to somebody being locked in a box, I would think, this part would be them maybe like awakening in the box and looking around and like touching things and then trying to get out. And then once they realize they can't get out, I should have timed my sentence a little longer, even longer still. Now they're really realizing they can't get out and they're super frustrated. And then they're just banging, clawing. Oh yeah, that's nice. All right, our next selection. Don't be distracted by the second mat that has appeared. From Chrono Trigger, this is Corridors of Time, composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, chosen by Xemnas. And I think for the last few years, I've been saying Xenmes. And reading it that way. Did you change your name recently? What the hell's going on here? Anyway, here's a track from this lovely person. Yeah, it does kind of have a sort of an Indian feel, I guess, with the here's what the character says when you arrive at this place. Welcome to the kingdom of Zeal, where dreams come true, but at what price? Really hitting you over the head with it. Sometimes, RPGs can deal with some interesting themes, some subtle themes, and sometimes not so subtle. Alright. Here in this RPG town, there's a farm. And the farmer, he has a lot of eggs and some chickens. But he knows that with his 50 eggs, he'll have 50 more chickens. But the problem is, a few of those eggs, well, he got so hungry he ate them. So he only had 45 chickens. And he felt shame. I guess the moral of the story is something about counting chickens. Yeah, I think I'd say an Indian or like a Moroccan drum. Boom, 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 boom. It's kind of got like, it's weird because it's got like East Indian sounding instruments or Arabic sounding instruments. I don't know, but like a Latin feel. And then you've got like also an emphasis on putting things on the upbeat sometimes. Which is a bit more of like a reggae feel. So it's a very, very... And then that. Like a sitar. I don't know if you heard that. And I think sometimes video game soundtracks will take a lot of different elements from various cultures here on Earth and combine them in a way that, to me, always makes it sound like very futuristic. The way that we would have, say, classical music, and then we'd have, modern pop music later on, but you can still incorporate things from classical music, or, like dubstep or something, combining sort of computers and electronic beats with feels from reggae and dub music, right? Man, there's nothing better than when you're playing on a guitar and you got your pick. I need to get a chair that doesn't have fucking arms on it. There ain't shit at. So you take your pick. You start on the top string, you just drag it down, especially with an E minor. Yes. I just need like a little tiny guitar I can hold. I could wear. Oh, if I had a tiny little guitar, I could wear it on my neck like a necklace and also play it. I remember telling some people on a cruise ship when I was playing "Take It Easy" by the Eagles for them, and I said the same thing, like, "Doesn't that sound great?" And I did that drag, and they all just stared at me. So, I guess I wasn't compelling enough for them. Well, our next track, from Trails in the Sky the Third, released on the PC in 2007, this is The Hermit's Garden, composed by Takahiro Unisuga and chosen by Rudi. That's so good. I love that big bass. Really, that bass has just got an energy to it. It's got a warmth to it. And it's not trying to do too much. It's kind of... It's the bass. I think if the bass is the same. Well, the bass changes a little, but I think that the bass is sort of implying that it's going to stay in the same spot while the chords move around it. It's doing a drone, but it's changing a bit. And then, like you say, the melody changes the instruments, doesn't get stale. Some more sitar. Every week, we have one surprise that we never would have expected. You know, maybe it's like, oh, I didn't realize that in our sports theme there'd be so many songs with lyrics in it, you know? And I never would have thought that we'd hear a lot of sitar when we were doing study week. And the sitar is now starring in the melody, too. Co-starring. It was starring in the last bit. This is nice. Man, I always... Like, I obviously love the music from this Sorano Kiseki franchise that Rudi constantly shows us. and then I look at like the cover art and stuff and I think, oh, they're old JRPGs. I really should try one. But then I see the anime cutscenes and I think, I don't know. But sometimes, I don't know, like, is the story different than what I think it, or is it going to be sort of like very anime? Do you have to be a big anime fan to like it, or does it hit on some more, I don't know, the other side of anime, I guess? I know anime is such a broad topic. There's lots that, not lots that I love, but there's ones that I love and, you know, really hold in a high regard. Almost sounds like it's slower in the beginning. And no, you don't have to be sorry about that. It's just you that brings these ones in mostly, so it's not like we're oversaturated with it. And there's a lot of music. It's not like you're repeating yourself, so it's great. All right, on to the next. Yeah, what I love in anime and a lot of video games too, JRPGs, where they go, like the main character is something like 14 years old, you know, or 17, and they're in the prime of their life, and they're the hero of the story. And then you'll meet a character that's like 39, you know, and like there he is. He's an old wizard, hardened by time and battle. Next up, from Limbo, released way back in 2010 on the PC. This is the menu theme. I love menu themes. Composed by Martin, Stig, Andersen, and chosen by Claudio. What are you studying? Final exams. Track. I mean, this track moves so slowly just between those two notes, and you got like a really heavy sound and a really kind of light sound. To me, it literally sounds like black and white are put together, and then there's kind of that gray in between. Pretty amazing. Just taking basically like 3 frequencies and maybe some more there that get introduced. noise canceling. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Okay, now to study to this, it's definitely very intense and very laser focused. So, yeah, I could see, I don't know how long I could do it. Either I'd have to do it for a very short amount of time, you know, like 25 minutes and then a break, 25 minutes and a break, that method. Or it'd be for a very important test. Or maybe it did get you so focused in that you just look up and you're like, it's been 8 hours, you know, it goes from light to dark and you didn't even know. You know, I thought Limbo was pretty great for the time. You know, it's very interesting, it's very different, had great challenges. I mean, it was basically like an updated, you know, one of those games, Flashback and Out of This World, 2D platformer. Really beautiful, drawn world, and just like slowly going through all these really intense challenges that can take a bunch of trial and error to get through. And then Inside, their next game, which I think took them 7 years to make with a small team, I think is one of the greatest video games ever made. Every moment was not just good, but consistently great, exceptional, riveting. Constant changes, so much every frame of it looked like it should be an oil painting. And then has that crazy ending, which kind of offers itself for you to replay to try to pick up on more clues, solve the ending. Anyway, this is a music video game show. We're not talking about The Great Play Dead, but it's fun to digress. This next one is from Radical Dreamers, released in 1996. The track is Under the Moonlight, composed by Yasunori Mitsuda on the Super Nintendo. Chosen by our ChiptuneBrony. Well, that's pretty fucking intense. I would find that hard to study too, I think. I'd be worried the whole time about somebody sneaking up behind me. That droney synth pad that just lays there like a heavy blanket of fog. Reminds me of Silent Hill or David Lynch. But, you know, that synth pad is very focused, and I feel like I couldn't look away from what I'm doing in a way. It is a great track. It's a very, very, very great track. I agree. Next up, from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, this is Torigoth Night, chosen by our big man, Steve. That's really nice. This sounds like a montage of somebody studying. Just different cuts. I get it. Really beautiful track, wow. It makes me want to play this game. And you know what? Yeah, they're anime looking, but it looks like a nice kind of softer cartoon watercolor storybook world. Breath of the Wildy almost. Back to the top of the order. Or, sorry, back to the first grouping. I had moved ChiptuneBrony's first pick because it was a little chiller. I wanted to start off with something a bit more upbeat. But now we're back to the order of which people submitted them. ChiptuneBrony, always first one. Appreciate your urgency and your consistency and your knowledge. Your second pick of the week from Trials of Mana 1995, Innocent Sea, composed by Hiroki Kikuta, released on the SNES. Well, you know, there's a slow but meditative energy to this one. So I could see it working well for maybe intense concentration. Sort of does a 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's like a slower waltz, but counted in 6. Instead of being 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, which would be a really slow waltz. Counted in 6, so you get all those like in between notes. Boom, 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 doing that arpeggio. And it just really kind of, you're swaying, but it's a very precise sway. It's like a robot is swaying you, one grid at a time. Not too intrusive, but ever present. Persistent comfort. That's another one, too. I could listen to this one with a nice fire crackling, or maybe the ocean waves. Next up is the game Astal. Check out this cover. Sega Saturn, and I love that compact disc. It's got that 90s cool Japanese stamp. It's cool gold. I like the gradients there from the gold to the white. Looks nice and shiny. This track is Glacial Rift, composed by Tatsuyuki Maeda and Tatsuya Kusaki. Chosen by Rudi. You know, it's funny, like, this was a really hilarious time in gaming, because the music, you know how CDs, video games are on CDs, so the music could basically be anything. You were no longer limited to bleeps and bloops and hardware synthesizers and really, really low rate samples that sound almost nothing like the original instrument. But even though you could have this, you could record an orchestra and you could just put the tracks right on the CD, the game still looked like this. You know, they still looked more bleepy and bloopy than, you know, they didn't look like the London Philharmonic Orchestra, the real one. So it's just so crazy to see this game with this music behind it. I mean, and then how cool is that? You're vibing out big time. How could it get any better? What if we drop in a David Gilmour-like psychedelic solo? How about that? Yeah, I want that. They change up the rhythm too in the second half. They leave out. They sort of take this rest in the last note of the bar. Boom, 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 bang. Boom, 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 bang. They sort of wait instead of keeping it going. From Yoshi's Woolly World, released on the Wii U back in 2015. Oh, Like 8-year-old game. How has this not received a full price Switch remaster? Hey, Nintendo. This is Craft Island, composed by Kazumi Totaka, chosen by Claudio. That fucking line right at the end. And that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Man, that is fucking... I mean, if somebody said, all right, we need music for a Yoshi game, but the gimmick of the Yoshi game is he's going to be made out of yarn. Real things, so it's going to be warm and cozy. Do you think you could do something that sounds warm and cozy? That has all of the danger of a pair of darning needles and sitting with grandma on the couch. Oh my god. Oh my god, the riffs are just so bright and hopeful. So naive. I think today's going to be a great day. Today will be the best day of both our lives. Then tomorrow will be better. Oh yeah, every day is the greatest day. Oh yeah. Wow. You know, and then they make this third part so climactic just by adding 2 guitars playing this way. That's the way it goes. That is fucking good. Man, I really want to play this now. Oh. From Child of Light, this is Patches of Sky. Composed by Béatrice Martin, a.k.a. Coeur de Pirate. Coeur de Pirate. Chosen by Kris. Real quick, don't you find that this era had a lot of lone, sad viola? This makes me think of like Ori and the Blind Forest, or just this was like indie games that really hit you in the heart like brothers. Effective. That's a really beautiful piece and very, very dense. And, you know, when it started off, the intro is pretty simple, so it's just goofing around and singing some lyrics. But when the actual melody comes in, there's like quite a lot going on here. I don't want to sully this with my stupid ramblings. Yeah, it feels so deep. The melody really kept me guessing. It has these slight rhythm changes where the note makes its change not where you're expecting it. Has that gentle tinkering and building sound. You like it as a track for a study piece as it's soothing, but has an essence of struggle over adversity. That's a great way to put it. And for Rudi, melancholic study. For focus, maybe, yeah. And yeah, it sounded like I was trashing the trend back then of this lone viola sadness and sad indie games, but it's really good. You know, it works, and it's good, and I like it, so. Study is not easy, no, because you're trying to make new neural pathways in your brain and have new understandings and new knowledge that you can recall at a moment's notice. It's hard to do something you've never done before, to push yourself. It's a lot easier to play in the same rut. But the longer you stay in the rut, the deeper you go, and the harder to get out. Next up, Cave Story. This is Studio Pixels, and it is chosen by ChiptuneBrony. The track is Geothermal, the core. Studio Pixels is the composer. Yeah, like I said in the chat, if you're listening on headphones or you have good stereo separation on your speakers, headphones, the stereo is always much more pronounced if things are on the left or the right. Anyways, there is a constant percussive sound. It's a sweeping sound. Anyway, they do it. It goes left, right, middle, right, left, right, middle, right, left, right, right. Anyway, to me, that is, it's neat, but it also just sounds like you're in like some kind of like a steam factory or something. You just got psh, 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 and yeah, like in the Industrial Revolution time, just or like that old German movie Metropolis, where they go underground and they're working on these like crazy machines that are killing the workers. Amazon worker murdered by drone for disagreeing with its suggested delivery route. This one's pretty good. I think this has like a real kind of, it's like there's a broom behind you that's just like sweeping up everything in its path, and if you don't keep moving forward, you're just going to get caught up or left behind. Hey, next up, from Racing Lagoon. This came out on the PlayStation 1 in 1999. This is South Yokohama, composed by Noriko Matsueda and Takahito Aguchi. Chosen by Rudi. Studying calculus, XYZ, 1 over 2, divided by square root of pi. I slept in. I need to study for the test. You from the grip. This song kind of speaks for itself, you know. Does the talking for you, and it's very in your face. It's incredibly quick, and things are not where you expect them to be, and there's a lot of skill involved. So I guess it's perfect to set the tone of a race where, I mean, I think this is, Rudi was saying this is a racing game that's an RPG, so you're probably doing a lot of, like, you know, street racing, as you can see. Like, this is not a professional track, so if you were just, although it does have barriers, so maybe it is, they set it up, I don't know. Unexpected twists and turns, racing through the city, trying to avoid apple carts. Up next, from our wonderful friend Big Boss Man Steve, from Final Fantasy XIV, Crimson Sunrise, composed by Kugane Daytime? It's confusing when the composer sounds like the name of the track. I love how, you know, a lot of times you're going to have synths and they'll be kind of formless, very soft and wavy, but you rarely have bass that's soft and waveless and formless. It just sounds like soft and wavy and formless. I like that. It just gives it an incredibly floaty sound. And then when you have the real drums over top of it that have their own kind of light bit of delay behind them too, it just gives it an incredibly low gravity, floating, flying feel. Very spacey. Really, really beautiful. And then there's that nice kind of modern touch where there was because like this part, you know, you could hear this kind of writing and most of it on an older era of gaming, even Super Nintendo or CD generation. But there's a little part in between, little transition with these modern kind of drums with a, like playing with a filter. It sounds like something a DJ would do in a remix or something. And it's just so kind of taking advantage of the modern technology and styles to give it a bit of put some stank on it, you know? It got me pretty hyped. Up next, from Chrono, released on the PS1 in 1999, this is Jellyfish Sea, composed again by Yasunori Mitsuda, chosen by Claudio. I like how cheery this girl goes. Stop that. See, her profile is smiling as she goes, stop that. It's not even funny. The boy's dead. Don't you understand? Alright, this is fucking amazing. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. That's from Final Fantasy VII. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. I fucking love these instruments on here. This like digital bath of FM synth piano. Oh my god, it's so like bit crushed but soft, but it has a shape to it. It's the perfect middle ground. You know, you can play like a piano, but it's not sharp and annoying. Oh, so nice. I mean, this is just a really... This feels like you're in a deprivation tank. And it's just gonna... Or like you're looking at oil floating on top of water. Just shimmers from side to side. Unbelievably good. Mitsuda started as a sound programmer engineer before composing. Oh my god. What a great piece of trivia. And as soon as you say that and you hear this, it makes perfect sense. Oh, I love this sound. I want to get that keyboard sound somehow. Next up, from Dust Force, this is Life Formed, composed by Terrence Lee, chosen by Chris. Oh yeah. All right, yeah, the official name for this track is Elvish Piper Academy. Thanks for the correction on that. And thank you for bumping up the show earlier, a week ahead of time. Made a really amazing track. Just everything about it. It is so groovy and soft and comforting and beautiful sounds and immaculately put together. It creates a whole world. It kind of sounds like you're exploring a brand new, bright little pixel world, one step at a time. There's a real warm optimism to it. It's almost like you're skipping along. This to me would be great studying music because it would calm me down, but it would keep me moving forward. All right. Next up from Xenoblade Chronicles, this is Satoral Marsh, composed by Manami Kyoto, chosen by Xemnas. Oh yeah. But will it sitar? Track just goes on and goes to some nice places. I love that real bass being played. The bass is really allowed to kind of wander, be a melody, and you can just really feel someone's fingers playing it, and it gives it that kind of marshy, low-down stomping. It's like it's a bit kind of wet and a bit mucky, a bit hazy, a bit foggy. I could probably study this as well. Anything that's got those kind of little repeating figures here and there, different places in the stereo mix, a good mix of high and low, like nice contrast, a lot of space, always something kind of growing and pecking and nibbling, not enough to take your attention, enough to keep you focused, and then changing it up. That's the thing, is like they don't want to take your attention, but they don't want to be boring. So the way to do that is constantly change up what instrument is playing, what kind of sound are you hearing, where is it placed. We've got a ChiptuneBrony selection from Night in the Woods. This is Lori M, composed by Alec Halauka, and this is available on Steam, PS4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox. Probably everything. It's an indie game that doesn't take a lot of energy to run. Play it on Stadia. That melody there, it's kind of done in the form of like a pop song chorus. Da, da, da. You got those big primary notes, big juicy notes, and they're played just like right center focus, really simple, and then repeated with slight variations. So it really sounds like kind of like a sappy ballad, like it's being played by a band and, you know, to a huge stadium or something, or like on a music video. Which I guess like the characters in this game have a band, so it would make sense that they're going for this sort of emotional band track. Yeah, I could see this being this is definitely on the sleepy side of things, but it has enough going on. If you needed to like chill out a bit and study as well, try to wind down. I mean, it's just a really great track. I was just constantly listening to that drum beat of 1 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 1 2 1 2 1. Oh, and then 2 2 1 2 2 1 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1. Just those little variations do a lot for something being looped. And then of course that's one of my favorite kind of percussions. Should be brushing my yellow teeth. Our next track is capital YU-NO, a game released on the PC 98 in 1996. The track is Ayumi, composed by Ryu Umemoto and Ryu Takami, the two Ryus, chosen by Rudi, or should I say Ryudi. Look at this track picture. What's going on here? I mean, that's intriguing enough. This is Ayumi, I guess. Played on the Yamaha YM2608 Opus speakboard version. Romantic. I wasn't expecting that first chord change to be so dramatic, you know, because everything else is set up to be very kind of breezy, sentimental, thoughtful, loving, you know, tender. It's like if you're giving somebody a background, would you go, bet you didn't expect this? You know, you don't want to have too much surprise and drama. Not touching your ears. So just stick to the back, okay? Ba, ba, ba. It's got a nice little bounce to it. I use that same beat when I'm doing Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody. I mix that with Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Don't copy me. We are on to our last two tracks. That's right. Polybridge from 2015 on the PC. This is On the Road, composed by Adrian Talons and chosen by Claudio. Oh, yeah. is a really nice track. But I will say that it has a laid-back, folksy, whoopsie-doopsie soundtrack with a feel to it, which is funny, because when you're building a bridge, you know, normally a bridge is like very... This is the way we build bridges, because if we don't follow these rules, people are going to die, and it's going to be horrific. And you'll never build a bridge in this town again. But the gameplay, as you can see, is they're building a bridge, and yeah, there's physics and stuff, but it's a quaint, hokey, silly bridge. And there are going to be times where it crumbles and tumbles, but it's just fake video game people plummeting to their death. They don't count. Not Grandma plunging into the ocean on her way to visit her grandkids for the first time. Guess she'll never see them. Last track officially from Firewatch, one of my all-time favorite video games. I look like I've got a bit of a Firewatch sunset coming down on my head right now. Man, the changes in that game from deep blues to stark oranges is incredible. Amazing game. I really recommend anybody play it that likes story-based games, obviously, but still likes making meaningful choices. And on YouTube, it says Far Cry 2. Nice. This is the prologue. The game was developed by Camposanto. I don't know if that's who has credit for the composing. We'll try to find the composer to that by the time this track is over. Chosen by Chris. Here we go. Yeah, it definitely has like an inevitability to it. It does keep pushing, and it's pretty sort of meditative in a way. A change. 1 minute and 38 seconds in. Yeah, it's a great track. Maybe not the best study one, but beautiful. I think it's about time for me to replay that game. You know, I played when it... I don't know when... I think I played it when it first came out. For some reason, I was on that game. And I played it in Toronto in the summer. There were a couple late afternoon, early evenings, hot sun coming in through the window in the muggy city, and I played it in about 2 sessions, and it was fantastic. And not even really knowing who Camposanto was, I just found them on Twitter and sent a message, and I said, I really want more games to be like this. This was quite an achievement. And the guy wrote back, and I think he's like one of the guys that worked on the Walking Dead games, the Telltale games. I think that's, yeah, they used to be with them, with Telltale, and then left after the first couple to make their own thing. You know, it's like a superstar. Nice of him to reply. Well, thanks everybody for your contributions, for hanging. If you're watching on YouTube, this is the end. So if you want more, well, there's plenty more of these episodes on the playlist. So many. We've been doing it for years now. It's wild. And we're going to decide what the next theme will be and the date of it. And if you want to be a part of that, join the Discord group. You're more than welcome there. Even if you just want to contribute to this, you don't have to do anything else. So, all right. Goodbye, YouTube.